Hi, everybody. I am very happy to bring to you today a few minutes with somebody who I've known about and admired for quite a while. And we've been Facebook friends for a bit, but we've never actually met till today. So Iris, thank you very much for joining us and spending some time with us. I wanted to let everybody know that before we started today, I went to Google because I wanted to kind of see what the internet was saying, and Google um, Google gives you the title of internet personality. So obviously, I want to let you speak to your achievements and kind of how you identify yourself in the fitness world on your own. But I want to mention one other thing that popped up in my Google search. There was a recent Instagram post that you did. And first of all, you look great. Second, you're doing 3-position lateral raises with cables. And of course, your execution is flawless. So that was awesome. And then I also want to give you one extra little kudos for actually working your rear delts, because a lot of times I see people working just their anterior delts and the middle head. And sort of forgetting about the importance of the balance between the push and the pull muscles. And you just demonstrated that on that IG video. So anyway, so I would like to welcome Iris Davis. And Iris is quite an accomplished fitness luminary and an IFBB pro. And I'd like you to tell the audience whatever else, I'm not including in your stripes.
Well, I actually fell into this profession quite by accident. I went to my first gym at age 22, and that was back in the 60s.
Wow.
Women were not even allowed in gyms.
Boy, wow.
And those that did allow you in were great big sweat pits with men stomachs this size and just grunting. And there was no such thing as gyms like they're known today. Gyms today now are on every corner. I had to actually take a train to go to the gym. And the reason for that was I got married very young. This is just briefly, very young. My first child died at 2 months old. And then I had another child, and then my husband died when he was 2 months old. And I'm still almost barely a teenager. So I had very trauma, and there was no such thing as drugs or alcohol to cure the pain, because first of all, I didn't have money for either.
Sure.
Secondly, I'm living in Dublin, and that was not the lifestyle.
Right.
So the only thing I knew to save my own life from a lifetime of depression, which, by the way, I still suffer from to this very day.
Yeah, many do.
I started walking, and I walked for years. And I walked and I cried and I talked to myself. But it was better than lying down at bed at home waiting to die, because you might want to die, but you're just not going to die if it's not your time.
Right.
Unless you do something to help. So that was my start. I had no role model. I had nobody to look up to, because growing up in Ireland, you didn't even see a pin-up. You'd never saw a woman in a bra in the newspaper. It was all Catholic, and that thing was frowned on. It wasn't allowed. So I didn't know there was such a thing as fitness for women. I just didn't know. I just gradually, by instinct, I kind of liked the way I looked. I was 17. I liked the way I looked, and I thought, I know the only way to keep this shape is to exercise. And nobody told me that. It was just instinct. So that's how it started. And then when I was 22, I came to work in the United States as a nanny. My son was 2 months old. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 6 months old the day I landed in Boston, Massachusetts. And that's when I joined my first gym that I was allowed to. So gyms were just beginning to open. Never had a lesson, taught myself everything.
That's great.
And I've been my own guinea pig right up until this day. I'll be 80 in about 10 days' time, and I'm very proud of myself.
That's great. That's amazing. So I wanted to, I'm sure you've been asked and have told your story so many times. I wanted to ask, so we get a little bit of a sort of compare and contrast. So how would you say, if there's been a significant difference in your attitude and your practice of fitness before and after the 50-year mark?
Before and after the what?
Before and after you turned 50. Is it significantly different now than it was, say, when you were 35?
No, I've always gone outside the box.
Okay.
Because
Great.
the traditional thing is 3 sets of 10.
Right.
And I've seen them do 3 sets of 10, and they've got enough energy left to do another 3 sets of 50. Right. And that's always been my attitude. Do 3 sets of 10. Why stop at 10? Right. Keep going. I get my clients to do sets of 50. And I'm my own guinea pig, so I know it works. And I've trained 3 champions, 2 young boys, and put them all on stage. They've all become champions. And my forte right now is women and men in their 70s. But I still teach guys at 17 and 18 and 19.
That's so great. That's so great. So I know that there are a lot of people on the group that follow bodybuilding and the contests and the organizations and everything. Can you tell people a little bit about the IFBB, your involvement in that, and then how that community responds to you?
Well, before the IFBB, I was living in London. This is in 1984. And everybody in the gym always told me, you look good, you look good, you look great, you should get up on stage. I didn't have a clue what to do. So long story short, I applied to compete in this show, not realizing they didn't have any categories for women whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to compete with the men. It was either compete with the men or forget it.
That is wild.
I competed with 7 men and I came second.
That's crazy. How wonderful.
Yeah. And I was 50 years of age.
Man, that's
50 years of age. I never had a posing lesson in my life. I really didn't know what to do. I was just copying others. And obviously I forged my own path.
Right.
Because I've gone on to win 17 first place NPC first place shows. I've got 3 speaking engagements. I got the Pioneer Award from India, from the Women's World Leadership Congress at the age of 72.
Amazing.
And that was after I'd come out of 10-year retirement. I retired at 66. And every year I would see the same shows advertised, the shows I'd won 2-3 times before. And I wrote to the promoters, I said, I'm dying to get back up on stage. I look great. I've never stopped working out, but I'm not going to compete against a 50-year-old. Before, I was always the oldest in the show.
Right, right.
And still I am to this day. So they wrote back immediately and they said, okay, we'll put on categories for the over 60s and the over 70s.
Great.
And that was 10 years retirement. And I came out and I took another further 3 first places.
Wow, incredible.
Plus an overall award. I got the ceremonial sword twice.
Nice. So you and George Foreman, you take 10 years off and you come back better than ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Because I'd worked all that time. I'd worked. Right. I opened my own gym when I was 74. I opened it right in my house. I emptied out a bedroom. I got all fully equipped. And I had so many clients that they just kept me busy and busy and busy.
I'm sure.
And I still have my own gym to this day. I have clients every day.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I'm so
And I always just ask God, please let me go till I'm 80. And now that I'm 80, I'm asking him, oh, please let me do another year.
Let it ride. Let it ride.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So can you tell me if, say, in the last 20 years or so, you have had any significant changes in attitude or approach or philosophy or even practice tactics on nutrition in particular for competition as opposed to just kind of day to day?
Yeah. Nutrition is 90% of the workout. It really is 90%. And you have to have blinders on.
Right.
You eat, drink, and think of nutrition. You know it's time to eat at 2 o'clock, and you know it's time to eat again at 3:30, and then at 5 o'clock. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. You know, you can have your dinners lined up in the gym. Right. And I kind of call it grazing. I graze all the time because I don't get hungry.
Right.
And, you know, once you're hungry, you know you're eating your muscle and you're leaving the fat. Right. So I'm constantly eating, and people think that like I'm overeating, but I'm not. I'm eating, I'm eating a very tiny, tiny little meal
Right.
all the time, all day long. I graze. Now, as I said, I never had anybody to learn from. I learned everything myself. I never had a posing lesson. I never had a workout lesson. I just copied, and then I figured out the way to do it myself, especially about the 3 sets of 10.
Right,
I
right.
figured, to me, that's a big no.
Well, I certainly celebrate you, and until today, we haven't really had much of a chance to talk, but we have so much overlap with our philosophical approaches, and also realizing that there's such a wide variety of profiles and approaches, and people kind of have to find their own path, but it's great to be open to trying new things,
Yes.
constantly sort of fine tuning, maybe just changing 1 or 2 variables at a time, so you kind of know what you've done, what changes you've made recently that really will stick. I don't want to bore people with my whole background, but I've been doing full-time training since 1998, and then I just went back to school a couple of years ago for a master's in exercise physics and sports nutrition. And what I learned talking to some of my professors and some of my fellow students was that, it's so easy to go into something that's such a commitment and such a lifestyle that you're identified with.
Yeah, it's my passion.
Yeah, without a healthy balance of, here are the things that I know work for me, and then here's some things that seem to be working for some others, and I'll try this and really pay attention to how this one change affects me in all these different areas. And so it seems like coming into it without a lot of preconceptions about how it should be done, you have a much more open attitude about trying things and paying attention to how well they worked for you, and then using that as your primary driver for continuing.
I always tell my clients, everything you know, I want you to leave outside the door.
Okay, great.
Because you're going to learn a completely new philosophy in here. And when my clients are working, they're working.
Yeah,
they're not gossiping.
Right.
And I never, ever, ever take my eyes off them.
That's great.
Whatever they're doing, even if they're doing sets of 50, I will be counting with them. I could walk into the kitchen and back, and I'll still know exactly what number they're on. And I build them up. I build them up. I build them up their confidence so much that within 2 or 3 months, maybe sometimes even 2 or 3 months, you've got men in their 70s wearing tank tops.
Yeah, isn't that great?
They never thought they'd wear a tank top in their life. And I tell them, no, if you don't come in here with a tank top, I'm going to cut the sleeves off.
That's wonderful.
And I've done it many times. I've cut the sleeves off and tied them up with laces.
Oh, well, I love how you hold your people accountable, and obviously it's from a place of authority and understanding and love, and that's just fantastic. I'd like to just kind of wrap up, to give you the floor and see if you would offer any advice to either folks that you think maybe are, struggling and not fully committed to a fitness lifestyle, either partly or completely because of their age, or people who are just getting into it, or maybe intimidated, or a little bit, maybe have lower expectations about what they can accomplish getting into it at 50, 60, 70.
Yeah. Well, 50 was considered old when I was doing it. My mother used to say to me, when are you going to stop this? I'd say, well, maybe when I'm 50. And then I got to 50 and I thought, hell, I still think I'm 20. So I'm still in it, and I'm 80. So a lot of my clients have infirmities. I have one super lady. She's 75. She's absolutely crippled with Parkinson's and arthritis. She comes to me twice a week, and she's got muscles like you wouldn't believe. She's I call her my Lady Jean. She's well known on Facebook.
I have seen you post videos with her.
Yeah, she's wonderful. A lot of my clients now they started working at age 69 or even 73. I have a lot of couples that come to me both in their late 70s, and they're taking off weight and they're actually building muscle. So I'm building muscle. So
Right.
I know it's not too late.
Right.
And I'm going to be 80 around the corner. I can't believe it. I always ask God, let me to go to 80, but it looks like he's going to do it for me.
Yeah, I think
you
you've got some more to do here.
know, yeah. And also I train the young people. I give them the philosophy of you've got the rest of your life. Do you want to look like this when you're 50, or do you want to look like something else? Because they start at 17 and 18. I have to have their parents' permission. But I've changed many, many, many young person's life. Many.
Sure.
And I've changed many, an ordinary housewife, as they would call themselves, because I don't call anybody ordinary. Everybody has their own greatness somewhere.
Well, that is
Just
wonderful.
gotta find it.
That is a wonderful thought to leave things on. I'm going to, if you would just indulge me, I would love for people to see you flex just once before we break with the interview. Boom! All right. It can be done. Notice, please, not just all the wisdom and the compassion that Iris is sharing with us, but what's underneath that, which is a steely determination to believe in yourself and want the best for yourself for the rest of your life.
And my motto is always be the best you can be, even if you're taking out the garbage.
That is great.
Be the best you can be anywhere.
Well,
because you never know who's going to see you.
Well, later today, I'm going to have to take out some garbages, so I will keep that thought in mind, Iris. Thank you again so much for joining us, and have a wonderful holiday season.
And I look forward to seeing this podcast one day. Namaste, Merry Christmas, and God bless.
You.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye now.